of quadrilaterals. Now we're going to go ahead and do some analysis of them just to bring them together. We're talking about reasoning abstractly and quantitatively. So in order to do reasoning or argumenting, we need to have some evidence and some resources that we can use to support whatever claims we're making. We're going to make conjectures. And so this is a high-level vocab word that this is what geometry is all about. We're going to make conjectures, or that's a rule statements. That's what a conjecture is. If you weren't sure what a conjecture was, you could flip to, the glossary section and find conjecture and then read it directly from there. C-O-N, course. Oh, hey, whoa. You should totally bookmark G9. G-9 in the book, because that definition, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, that is 100% a vocab word that we've talked about that you need to know. Describe the diagonals of each quadrilateral. The diagonals of each quadrilateral, they bisect. In parallelograms, diagonals bisect each other. In rectangles, they are bisecting and congruent. Quadrilaterals with pairs of adjacent congruent bases. In this case, that's rhombuses, kites. That means that the diagonals are perpendicular. Not necessarily like always bisecting, only rhombuses do that because rhombuses are a special type of parallelogram. You also investigated the relationships between the interior angles of quadrilaterals. In parallelograms, the interior angles of quadrilateral will opposite angles are congruent, and adjacent angles are supplementary. That's a vocab word I haven't used often enough, so I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to say what it means or what it tells us. That means they add to, that's right, our common math word. Rectangles. Rectangles are the same as parallelograms. Their opposite angles are congruent and adjacent angles are supplementary. But not only that, the angles are 90 degrees. And then in a kite doesn't have these conditions because it's not a parallelogram. But it does have that all four angles add up to 360. I mean, that's true of all quadrilaterals. But what's also true with kites, go find that picture from like page 220, 221. When we talked about kites, we said this. There is one pair of angles that are congruent. That did happen. It was the opposite ones. Okay. Nicole observes the relationship between the interior angles of the isosceles trapezoid. She conjectured, she made a rule statement, that trapezoids have two pairs of congruent angles that are adjacent to each other. Do you think Nicole's conjecture is right? Well, trapezoids. Draw a trapezoid that's not isosceles. So maybe like freehanding it, right? There it is. Meant to be parallel, meant to be parallel. Video, that's page 223. We're going to finish this lesson in a little bit. Bye.